Hello, my dear souls, and welcome to Healing with Jude Podcast, a healing space where we share with you tools and inspiration to make your life more mindful and still. And today I do have a beautiful guest, again from the other side of the world. I have the beautiful Melissa. Melissa, welcome. How are you?
Hi, thank you so much. I am doing wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine. It's really cold here in Italy. Well, I suppose it's really cold in Canada as well,
Yeah,
isn't
really
it?
cold.
Really, really cold.
Nice snow on the ground.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, here it didn't reach yet that
Oh,
point, but well, hopefully it will never reach.
yeah.
So, Melissa, I would love you to introduce yourself because you do so many things. You are a writer, you are a Reiki specialist, you are a personal trainer, and you are also the owner of this beautiful I Am Holding space. But I want you to introduce yourself. That is probably the best.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. So, my name is Melissa, and in the past, I used to say that I was really into your physical body, like physical health. That's how I was really into like personal training and doing a lot of fitness classes, a lot of dance classes when I was younger. And now my life is turned around and I'm so much more focused on like spirituality and writing and making bracelets and art. So I just feel like I do so many things, but they're all connected together. So it's
Yeah,
really nice.
yeah. Yeah, because based like you write beautiful poems, your art is really beautiful. And all your post is so inspiring because, she does have this beautiful profile on Instagram where she shares so many healing things. But how it all started, like how did you change from just my body to let me see also, on my soul what is going on?
Yeah, so the best way for me to describe this, first of all, thank you so much. That means a lot to me that you're
Oh,
saying that I post nice things. I just try to be myself. And I guess I could really say that this happened. This is like a really important time for me. So I went to Thailand basically when the pandemic started. So in January 2020, I was going to Thailand to do some backpacking for 3 months. That was the goal. Just because I needed a break from like my life here and I just wanted to see like another part of the world. And there was like, I had an opportunity to go, so I went. And I ended up staying there for much longer than anticipated because of the pandemic. I didn't want to
yeah.
get stuck like at the airport. I was seeing a lot of posts. It was really scary. And I felt like I was in a safe place where I could just stay and be okay. So I ended up staying there for almost 8 months. And
Wow.
yeah, so I was staying with like a person that was like really bad. And it was really conflicting for me because everyone would like see where I was, like by the beach and like the sunshine. And inside I was like dying, right? Like I just felt horrible. And
Ah.
everyone's like, you're such in a great place, you must be having the best time. And I was like, yeah, like I didn't really know like what to do because I felt really stuck and really conflicted. Like nobody that I knew was like around me. Like I felt really alone, even though I was surrounded by people. And when I came back from that experience from Thailand, that is when really like I felt changed in a way because I don't know, when I was home, like you don't understand like the importance of me like being home in like a safe place and was right near like Canadian Thanksgiving and I was like really emotional. Like I'm like I feel so safe here and it's like so important for me, like to be around like my family and like a safe space. And it was like really overwhelming because I just felt like in danger and really stressed when I was over there, especially near the end. It was like really scary for me. And even throughout that experience, I felt like my confidence was gone and I didn't know how to get it back. So I started working right away at like a hospital, just because that was something that I could do during a pandemic, right? And I just really wanted to get my life like back together and really like start over. And I guess I could really just say that being in such a like a traumatic, like having a traumatic experience like that, like helped me like open my eyes. And I just did so many changes. Like I stopped drinking alcohol, um, and I just really tried to focus on like myself and just trying to be a better person than I was in the past. And yeah, I just wanted to be confident again, be like the person that I was before all of these like traumatic events had happened to me, right? So something that I did that helped me like get on my like spiritual path a lot more, because it was still something that I practiced in the past, but just like not as much as today. Well, I met my partner almost a year ago, and he's been a really great like influence for me and like really helps and supports me, so that I could be the best version of myself and just be like authentically myself. And so I'm really thankful for him because he always supports me. Um, and he helped me attend this retreat, which is called the Bliss Retreat. And I went to the third one. Um, and we had a plant medicine ceremony with psychedelics.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna admit, like I had like a fear of doing
Oh yeah.
psychedelics,
Yeah.
just because they have such a bad reputation,
Yeah.
for like a party drug, right? Like people would take it
Yeah.
and like see things, and that kind of scared me because I mean I don't know what to expect. And whenever people are like, oh, like, can you explain like what being on psychedelics feels like, and they're like, no, I can't really explain it. So like even that is like scary, right? Because I'm like, well, what is it gonna be like? And this was like a
Yeah.
different experience because it was in like a sacred like setting. It was like a ceremony setting, and we had to have the blindfold on, and so it was all internal and not external. And there was curated playlist so that it would kind of like take you on like the ups and downs. And it was like in such a great like safe space that it allowed you to like feel everything that you needed to feel. And during that experience, it was crazy because it was like everything that I already knew was like shown to me, right? It was like giving me answers that I already knew, but just like made it very like clear and present. And yeah, after that experience, I was like really like, okay, like this is like, these are the things that are important for me. And that specific experience really allowed me to be myself and not be so ego driven. Because before, like on Instagram, I, like jealousy and posting things just so that people would like them. Like I saw myself doing lots of those things. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that anymore, right?
Yeah.
And I guess what it really helped me was like in my past, I felt like I'd done so many bad things, and I carried like a lot of like guilt and shame from like the person that I used to be. And I was just afraid to be myself because I kept holding on to the past and being like, I did all these bad things. Like I drank so much alcohol for so long, and like that's just not me. And I just felt like I carried that with me. And we also, like at the retreat, wrote like a letter to someone or something that we wanted to like heal ourselves from. And what I wrote was about myself, because I felt like, like parts of me of like if I've hurt someone in the past, like the actions that I've done, I carried that with me. And something that was really important was when I read the letter out loud. It was around a fire, and one of the retreat facilitators, Barat, he said, ask yourself if you can give yourself permission to be yourself. And I was like, that was like so important that he said that, and then I felt like really proud of myself for sharing it in front of people, because I was like, it was hard. It's hard when you're reading something and you're like shaming yourself and feeling bad for yourself, right? You're just like, oh no. I put it in the fire, and then I let that go. And with the plant medicine ceremony, I was really able to just be more myself, right? And then it gave me like the courage and like the strength to like post more about my poetry and things that I've written, and gave me the confidence to just be me, right? Because it's almost like so many times in my life I've seen like quotes and things, people are like, just be yourself, like people will love you and blah blah blah. And I was like posting it like, yeah, sure, but I didn't get what that meant, I was like, what does that mean? And now it's like, I know like I'm gonna keep like peeling layers, but
Yeah,
like now that I feel this way and I've been through these like experiences, it makes so much more sense to me.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I guess I could really say that after like these experiences and being around like that community of people that like want to heal and like want to be better, it's really just helped me like come along like this path, right?
yeah, yeah. Wow, that is such an amazing experience. I never done, like, I think there was a moment where I think the universe was trying to say to me, you need to do a retreat in that way. And I could find ayahuasca everywhere. I was like, are you serious? Like, you're throwing that to me constantly. Uh, and then, well, you know better than me. Then there was the pandemic. And well, here in Europe, it's still tough as to live all through that. So it was kind of impossible of, okay, so let me go to Peru or whatever is the place, or to the Amazon and do a proper experience with plant medicine. But that is so amazing. Like, so basically you just, in the experience, it just answered to all your questions, basically. Like, you did have your answers, but
Yeah.
it was a sort of, hey, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, it's like here, it's like at the bottom, and then it like puts it like right at the surface so that you can
Wow.
see it, right? So that you could acknowledge it. And then of course, like at the end of like the retreat, there's like, after there's all these questions that you need to answer about like your
Yeah,
experience, like even like being like artistic and like drawing things that you saw and like doing like a brain dump and like asking specific questions of how you could integrate that into your life so that changes can happen. Because there's like the part where you're going to have this experience and you're going to feel like all these things, right? But then you need to like integrate that into your life.
yeah,
So they help
yeah.
you. So at the retreat, they have questions, and so that you could really take the information that was given to you, like from the medicine, and then like apply that to your life. And otherwise, it's kind of like doesn't really matter,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah. That is such a great experience. Wow. Like, I need to do as well, really soon. But do you
Yeah.
think that, like, because you are a really creative person, do you think that that creativity really helped you to open up more and to see like your true self?
Yeah, it really did. Like it made me feel more even just confident, right? And being able to
Mhm.
do that and showcase it. Because like especially like just writing things, like parts of me, if I would like see a poet and I'm like, oh, look at all the things that they're writing and like they're sharing, but like I don't guess I never realized like how vulnerable it is for them to like share that information, and what possibly like especially people that are close to them are probably thinking like, wow, you must be like depressed, or like you must be like so sad, or like, oh my gosh, like are you okay? And and then I would look at people and be like, oh, I want to like write a book and do that. But in order for me to do that, is I need to start sharing with people, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it really gave me like that boost of confidence to like just be myself. And I don't know that my writing has changed, because I feel like I wrote a lot of things like when I'm feeling sad, and I feel it really
I
difficult.
think it's normal, isn't it? Like, I am the same. I can just write when I am sad. That is like the kind of writer issue. Like, when you
Yeah.
help, you're like, I'm not even bothering. Like,
I don't need to write because I'm feeling great already, right? Yeah,
yeah.
I've written about that, literally being like, it's not fair that people are only seeing like things when I'm sad. And when I'm happy, I'm like, I don't need to write because I'm feeling great, you know? And a lot of times you write when you're feeling sad because it helps you like cope with it, right? It
Yeah,
helps you feel better about the sadness that you're feeling.
yeah,
So yeah, and doing that and then writing and then I just started doing like more like paintings and stuff recently.
yeah, yeah.
Um, to be honest, I don't know why I'm doing it, but I really feel like I need to be doing it. I wouldn't really say that I'm like a good artist. Like I don't see myself as doing like great
Yeah,
art. Um, but I enjoy doing it. So I'm like just doing like artistic like paintings and like resin and like colorful things. I guess I've been doing a lot of like if I go to like a meditation like class or
yeah,
like
yeah.
practice, I see a lot of like colors and like lines and like movement kind of
Wow.
things.
Yeah,
So I'm always like, maybe I should be doing things with lots of colors or like something with like movement. And so I try to do like pieces of art that include like colors. I also tried to do like a resin piece where I had my poetry.
mhm.
Um, that didn't work out so much, but I'm gonna try again because like it's all about learning, right? Sometimes I'm like, oh my
Oh
gosh, like
yes,
too
it is.
much.
It is. Like I am like um, I can't draw. Like I'm a terrible drawer. Like I can't paint. Like, but if I am inspired and you give me the colors in a canvas, I'm able to throw everything in there that I will self-judge saying this is horrible. But then there will be like my boyfriend or someone else that say, oh, that is actually good. Is you? I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm not actually that bad.
Exactly what's happening to me. My partner's like, oh, this looks really nice. And I'm like, it does? I'm like, okay, like maybe people will like it, you know, because I also think like individuals like ourselves are always like the ones who judge us the most, right?
Oh
We're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, we're like, oh, that's not nice. And then you'll like show it to people and they're like, that's so good. You're like, it is. You know,
Yeah,
also
yeah.
me too, like drawing something that's supposed to be like a tree or like a flower or this
I can't.
I don't know that I'm that good at that. I think I think the best thing for me is kind of just put like colors together and
Yeah.
do a kind of a thing and then I'm like, oh, okay, that's not too bad. More like abstract, I would say, than you know, which is nice because
Yeah.
sometimes people can see it as something else, right? Oh,
Oh
what does
yeah,
this
but
look
that's
like,
that
right?
that that is like the same thing with poetry. Like you just put down, and then someone else gonna read it, and you will find their own meaning to
Yeah.
that. And I do remember when I because I published two poetry books, and the second one there was this poem that for me was really sad, but for others reading it was actually a healing poem, and I was like, wow. So, and in there I realized that when you put something out in the world, um, it doesn't mean that people are gonna judge you, but they will probably be inspired because they will see something else towards
Yeah.
what you wrote or towards what you draw, the paint that you've done, because it's and when I go to art galleries and all, well, not anymore, unfortunately, because where I live, they sucks. But when I go to big cities and because here, well, I suppose in any school in the world, they really teach you about the great paintings and the great artists and all of that. And when you go in there, you probably know the meaning. But then when you see a new art that you don't even know who's the person that done it, sometimes you're like, oh, wow. And then you read the story, you're like, oh, okay. That
Yeah, oh,
meant that. But
100%.
for me, it was something else completely, completely. Yeah.
Mhm.
And how it started the I am holding space. What was
So
the idea?
this happened, it's almost like two-part. I would say two-part of how it actually happened. I think both of them are important. So basically, it first started when I was having a conversation with my partner, and I had just come back from the bliss retreat, and I felt like, you know, sometimes when you feel really like heavy and like you're
Yeah.
holding on to a lot of things and just makes you heavy. When I came back from there, I felt extremely light, like a feather. And even my partner was like, oh my gosh, like you are, it's like weight has like been removed from you. And we were having like deep conversations, just like really important conversations that I feel like we have all the time. And we always get like the best ideas when we just like talk about different things. So I'm talking about this and about the plant medicine ceremony and everything at the bliss retreat. And I was saying, oh, like the facilitators were really good at holding space for us. Like they were good at like letting us like have whatever was coming up for us and just have that experience in like a safe setting. And my partner was like, oh, like, wouldn't it be cool if we had like an area, like a business area, right? Where you could go in and it would be like soundproof. So it'd be really quiet. And there could be like, you know, we could have like journals so like people could write down like what they're feeling, and maybe like journal prompts like up on a wall, and people could go there. So let's say it's like in Toronto or something, and you go into the space and it's quiet, so all the like sound from like the traffic and everything is completely removed because it's soundproof. You go in there and then you could really just focus on being. So we were like, oh, that's such a great idea. And you know, people could go there, spend as much time as they want in like this like quiet safe space, and you know, if anything comes up they could write it down, or if there's like journal prompts to give them ideas, and just stay there. Because in the world, like there's so many like noises
Uh,
and
too
things
much
like
noise.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Everything in like from society is like always like coming into our thoughts and like maybe making us question ourselves or decisions that we're making. And you know, it was just like a place where you could be alone with your thoughts and you know, just be more peaceful and like still, because that's a lot of times where you get like all the answers that you're needing.
Yeah.
So this happened, you know, and we also wanted to do like workshops there, like a yoga class or like ecstatic dancing, because I believe in like a quiet space, but I also believe in like movement and like doing guided meditations and like a community space. So we were thinking about this, but then of course, because of the pandemic, you know, opening up a business that's like
Yeah.
people could go to is
Yeah.
not the best idea at the time, like at this time right now. But like in the future, it could be a great thing. But it's just like, it's so nobody knows, right? So it's like hard to like, if you want to like start this right now, it's not the best time. And we were like, okay, like how can we do this in an online setting? Like either do it like as a group or individually. And then we didn't really like talk about it that much after. And it was kind of like up in the air. Like we had talked about it and that was it. And that was fine. And then I attended another healing. What was it? Oh, we had an ecstatic dance. It was ecstatic dancing, and then afterwards there was a sound healing bath. So it was like really like powerful, like loud. And this was at the same person who facilitated, well, one of the facilitators of the Bliss Retreat, but it's like the creator of the Bliss Retreat. And her name is Jasmine Moore, and she has a lot of like great events at her home, and you know, is like a healer. So I attended this, and it was so crazy because all of these like ideas were coming to me. It was like a nice like space, and there was like all these like healing sounds and all of these ideas. Like I do these like poetry, like these poetry arts where I type it on my typewriter and I put like, it's like a collage, I guess, that I make it, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like I have poetry and then a little bit like design, right? So people could have it in their homes. And like I was like, okay, I need to do a website where I could have this. And then during this moment, I was like, okay, what can I do for people that allows them to, you know, like to feel better and to like heal, or whatever it is that they need to do. And I was like, oh, it's so simple. Like basically what I'm doing right now is like I'm getting so many answers in this safe space, and it's like there's like, you know, sound healing, but there's nothing else going on, right? It's just this like silence that I'm in this moment, and like all of these like ideas are coming to me. And that's when I was like, oh, like I'm holding space, like you're holding space, but not only are you like actually holding space, but you're holding space, like
Yeah.
quiet space, you know? And I'm always thinking like when there's like therapy, you know, it's more like verbal and people are talking, and you know, and they're giving you like a safe container and like being like, well, how did you feel if this happened in this situation, you know? And it's nice because it's a controlled environment, and but it's a lot of verbal. And this is like the same type of concept, except it's quiet. Like you could have like the music on or just quiet, and then you just close your eyes and do some breathing and you just stay. And it sounds so crazy because it's such like a
That's so
simple
crazy.
concept. It's like easy, right?
But like when you explain me that to me, like when we talked previously, I was like, well, the first part is just amazing because you're like you're going in a space, you can hear the sound and anything, but at the same time, is like, okay, you can do that for a certain amount of time because then you need to go out in the real world. So being in the real world and being capable of holding the space, so be open again to your ideas and all of that, even if around is so hectic and like full of stuff, that is just amazing.
Yeah.
That's just so cool. Just so cool. And
Yeah.
and because basically we do basically the same things, and that is the crazy fact. We write, we dance, we like it's just you're basically my
Bracelets.
sister. Bracelets, you're like actually my sister from the other side of the world, so let's be true. But
Same.
with the dancing, because I do have the experience in dancing, like is my moment of releasing, is my moment of letting go, but is also a moment of huge clarity, even if after I need to stop and because I can't breathe and you know and all of that part in there. But do you feel that when you connect so much with the music, but also in your body, you are so open to what is
Yeah.
going on?
It's like when you're letting go, you're inviting to receive, right? Uh,
Yeah,
so interesting. So that we're talking about dancing because yesterday I went to like an energy healing session, um, and I was saying in my plant medicine ceremony, it was a lot of dancing, like movement was coming up, and I danced when I was younger. Like I used to do a lot of hip hop dancing. I went to college for dance. Like it was very like strict, right? So like
yeah,
you go to class and you've got to do all these exercises and you do the choreography, and it's very like controlled.
yeah,
And I was thinking to myself, I need to dance. I knew like my whole life that I loved to dance. Like it was like my first passion was dancing. And and I was like, how can I like dance and like share dance, you know? And I'm thinking of all these things. Like I'm making it so difficult for myself. I'm like, I could do like drag and like, you know, start like performing at like a drag show, right? And just like perform because I love to perform. Or like I'm taking an ecstatic dance course. I was like, maybe like I could learn how to DJ for like dance. And I'm like thinking of all of these things that I can do for dance. And when I went to see, well, it's again Jazz, the energy healer. I'm telling her this information, and she's saying, "Oh, like exactly what we always do as like humans is like make everything so complicated." And she just asked me like, "Well, okay, so dance, like, how does dance make you feel?" And I was like, "Well, it makes me feel happy." You know, it makes me feel free and like open to receiving and just like letting go, right? And she's like, so just take that and share with people how it makes you feel, and then just by sharing and doing that, then it will come, like it'll be easy, right? So now I'm really in a place where I just want to like share with people in like a simple way how dance makes me feel. And it just makes me feel like happy. That's how it makes me feel
Ah,
like, you know, just it brings me so much joy. And like any type of music, and like just like move my body freely, and you know, let go of judgment of, oh, maybe I
yeah.
shouldn't be doing this movement, right? Like just that is, yeah, because sometimes they're like doing these things
Yeah,
and
because you're like dance, like when I do, sometimes because I always loved to dance since I was a kid. But then my mother was like, well, dance is just for women, it's not for men. So I had somehow to block that part in there. But that is a Brazilian story. So okay. Was the 90s, crazy times. And but I do remember going to the clubs that I would stay probably dancing for 4 hours without stopping, not even drinking, you know. And I was feeling so energetic, so good. And I was not understanding at that time how healing it was, how healing it
yeah,
was. And there was a lot of self-judgment as well, like, oh, I am too sexy, oh, I should not move in that way. Well,
right,
someone is looking to me. And when I started to do, and I was on the video because the first dancing webinar that I've done was like all through Zoom, and I was like, oh no, I am really doing this. Like people will see me moving, not that I move bad, but I'll be like, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? And then suddenly the music just kicked in, like as something, you know, just let it go.
yeah,
And I was like feeling I was a tree and I was moving and people, you know, and then you just give to people that energy of, you know what, you can have rhythm, you can't have rhythm, you can play the robo, but that's fine. So it's just let it go, dance and move because this will heal you
yeah,
completely. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it just gives you like the okay, right? Like
yeah,
approval of that, oh, it's okay to do that, you know, and not judging. Even myself, I took a lot of like these twerking classes, and people, it's like sexualized, right? Because it's like you're shaking
yeah.
your butt, right? And it's people are like, oh my gosh, like you're calling all the boys to the yard, you know. And I'm like, but I like to do it. And the crazy thing about twerking is that it's really hard, like it's difficult to
It
do, like,
is.
and it takes like a lot of like patience and like practice and like technique to do it, because I took like actual classes that teach you like different techniques on twerking. So people are like, you're just like shaking your butt, like
Not
that's easy.
really.
But
Not
it's
really.
so hard, but I like enjoy it so much because I really like Caribbean music and like soca and things like that. And like, so for me it's like really like freeing and fun, and
Yeah.
it's I don't like to feel that people are like, oh, you're shaking your butt in people's faces, that's sexual, but it's just like it's so freeing, you know.
No, it is, it is. And I'm always questioning like how is possible that your bum moved that much and you don't break your back completely? I'm always like amazed, like, oh my God, can you do that with your body? Seriously?
But sometimes it hurts your back, yeah, when you're like new and you're not used to it, for sure. But a lot of it is like from your hips, so it's actually just your
Hips,
hips
yeah.
moving. Yeah, and there's
Whoa.
one that's like your actual, like the indicators, like your actual butt muscles, like going up and down. Like you can
Yeah,
do it if you're
yeah.
sitting down, like squeezing and letting go.
I
But
can't.
everything else is your hips. Like your hips are like shaking and like shaking up and down, side to side.
No, but I like that. That is amazing. Like I can't do like I can dance, but I need to be my own choreographer. I can't like if people say left, I go to the right. If they say right,
Yeah.
I go to the left. I'm like, I should do hands. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm moving like I need to be my own choreographer.
It's the best way though. That's the best way because it's like the freeing, flowing way, right? Because you just do it the way that you want to. And that was like kind of like a conflict that I had because my whole life, like when I started teaching like hip hop classes when I was like 16 years old, and I would choreograph the dance moves, and I would be in like dance troops, and like I would do dance competitions, and it was always like you need to be like 5, 6, 7, 8, like on
Yeah.
the rhythm, like on the count. And even when I went to school, that was like the worst because they like judge you on how you're dancing. So it's like really hard when you're doing like an art. You know, it
Yeah.
was really hard to like be like, oh, you're not good at this and that, or I don't
Yeah.
like that. Oh. So that's
Yeah.
why even when I was doing the plant medicine ceremony, was being like, it doesn't need to be like controlled, right? Like it just needs to be like freeing. And that's whatever you're describing to me is like exactly. So it's not about 5, 6, 7, 8 being on rhythm.
Yeah.
It's just about doing whatever feels right in your body and just like letting go. And it's so freeing, and then you could receive.
Yeah, yeah. And about the Reiki parts, how did you put all of that? I am so fascinated by Reiki. Like I don't think I'm capable of. Like I know that I do have healing through my hands, whatever it is, but I can channel, and probably it's the same for you. Like when you write poetry, it seems that someone is channeling something and you just put it down. But when it's Reiki, I'm always amazed because I'm like, how can you channel that power and to heal, the
Yeah.
spiritual of someone else?
It's actually crazy because whenever you go to like a Reiki or energy healing, you can literally like feel it, right? So like you know
Yeah,
that it's real. Like you'll like, even if your eyes are closed and you're like in a dark room, it'll be like light. Like I will literally see like light, right? So it's like it's real.
yeah.
Um for me, my Reiki journey has been quite interesting. Like years ago, I used to do like fitness competitions. So like I said, I used to be like
Mhm.
really like physical body. So I did like 7 fitness competitions in my
Wow.
life. Yeah, all like in a short period of time. So like within like a year, I did a lot. So I felt really like bad to my body and like a bad relationship with food. And I was really like just going through all these things and restricting yourself and being so strict. It was hard, and I was going through all these other things in my life, like with work and like the person that I was dating. It was like all bad. And I had a really great group of friends that were into like Reiki and like energy healing, and they were like, you should try it. And I went to it, and it really like helped me relax a lot, and it helped me a lot. So I would search for it multiple times like throughout my life whenever I was feeling like I needed answers. I would just find like someone to do Reiki healing on me. And I can't really describe how it made me feel. Like, so like it made me feel really relaxed, and like almost like gave me answers that I was needing. It was helping me a lot. So whenever there was like a time in my life where I was like, oh, there's like a Reiki course that I could take for like my Reiki level 1. And I was like, I'm going to do it. Um, but this is interesting because I used to drink a lot of alcohol. And right now I'm like over a year sober. So it's like really amazing for me.
Well done.
Thank you. And I never thought this day would come. So if you're listening and you think that you're like, I wish that was me, or I feel like I could never do that, I literally was like, I wish I could do that, and I wish that was me.
Yeah,
And it's happened. So don't give up. So whenever the time is right and you feel like that time is
yeah,
right, it'll come.
yeah.
So I've taken my level 1 Reiki, but I was drinking the day before. And when I went to like the healing, I wasn't feeling like my best, right, for my
Yeah.
course. And I got it all, but I didn't feel like worthy of it. So I
Mhm.
didn't practice it as much as I should because I had that guilt from that. Um, and then after I came back from Thailand, so I guess I got my first one in 2019. So I went to Thailand in 2020 and I came back in 2020, but like at the end of
Yeah,
the year.
yeah.
And I had I guess I was really into like my spiritual journey right after this. And I got my Reiki session, no, my Reiki healing like class. I did both. So I did my level 1 again because I had that shame and that
Okay.
guilt. And then I did my second one because I was like, I'm ready to like learn like the next one, right? Because I was like eager to learn more about it because I was really into it. And so I did my level 1 and 2, and it was like so magical for me. Like whenever you do, it's called like an attunement, and it's like they give you like the healing. They're like channeling something, and I can't explain to you what this feels like, but it's like another world. It's literally like the energy, it's like colors and you're seeing things. It's not like from like the planet Earth, like it's crazy. And after I did it, it took me a little bit of time to like be like, okay, like I'm ready to share it, right? Because again, it's like your confidence and your ability to do something. And especially when you're doing energy healing, because someone's coming to see you for like guidance and you know, they're looking for healing. So it's definitely, you know, you want to make sure that you're giving them like the
Yeah,
best that you
yeah,
can. So it took me a while to actually be like, put myself out there also and be like, hey, I'm offering this. Like it's kind of selfish of me to like keep it for myself, right? Even though I do like Reiki healing.
yeah.
But like I'm like, I have this that I could share, right? So like why not? So I try to do like Reiki on myself sometimes and like family members, and I offer it to people, and it's just a beautiful, it's just something really beautiful that you could learn and have. And you know how it works really is there's these different like different symbols for it that you could use while you're doing it. And of course when you're like learning about it, they teach you all those things. But it's really just like everyone has healing abilities, right? So it's just like about like
Yeah,
channeling it and putting it through like your hands, right? So it's like
yeah,
it
yeah,
comes from like the universe and like out to like, and it just
yeah.
goes where it needs to go. And it's
Yeah, that's like it's incredible. Like I had once someone that did Reiki to me, but and here we go, the weirdo of the situation. So basically, he said that it was quite difficult for him to channel, like to heal me, because he said there was this really powerful power inside of me. So it was a sort of, he was trying, but he was feeling this pushing away, like you don't need this. And I was like, so
right.
what are you trying to say? And it was like, I'm not trying to say anything. I'm like, okay, so this is a little bit weird. But when I had my first hypnosis, and these I don't remember his name anymore, but he's a French guy, and he's a shaman. And it was funny because we did this through Zoom, like, and I was like, how can you actually do a hypnosis through that? I was like, well, let me try. But everyone was saying, no, he's pretty good, just try on. So it was like, I don't even know how to describe it, because it was so insane, but at the same time so healing,
Yeah.
that he said to me by the end, still when you are in that sort of conscious unconscious moment, he's like, okay, now place one hand onto your heart, and that will be the hand that gonna heal for this week going on. So I put my right, I don't remember, was it right or left anyway. So he's like, okay, wake up. I was like, oh wow, amazed, like what is going on. He's like, okay, so now you're gonna feel anything, but suddenly everything during your week, you will see some changes, your behaviors. And actually, it happens, like I completely change behaviors and attitude towards everything. But the funny fact is, I could feel this energy so powerful in my hand, but so powerful. And my boyfriend was like, oh, I feel stomach sick. So put your hands on my belly. And I put the hand on the belly, and he was like, what the heck? And I was like, what? I don't feel anything anymore. I'm fine. And I was like, okay.
That's the best.
Should I open a business about it?
I'm healing people.
Yeah, yeah, but it's just amazing how, when you really connect with your spirituality, we are so able to channel and to heal ourselves, but also heal everyone that is around us, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just beautiful.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah,
It,
yeah,
I love hearing things like that too, because I'm like, it, you can't explain it, but it's like, so there it is,
yeah, yeah,
It's like, how beautiful is that? It's like so
yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we're all thinking like things like in a box, right? And we're like, no, that's not a thing. But like it's real. Like you
Yeah, it's
can't.
totally real. I think that is also about, and please confirm with me, is about you are ready to receive and you are ready to live certain experience just when you are open
Yeah,
to accept, or you are open to try to accept yourself.
yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. And people will come to you like when the time is right, when they need that, and then that's when the magic will happen. There's no like reason to like rush anything. If someone's like, oh, let me do Reiki on you, like you need it, like nah, that's not right.
no,
If
no,
someone's
no,
like,
no.
I feel called to like for your guidance or for your help or for your healing, then that's like a great time because that's the magic's gonna happen then, right? So it's like just whenever the right time,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you also need to be open. Because like if
yeah.
you're
You
like
need to be open. Yeah,
if you go
yeah.
to like a healing and you're sitting on the chair or like on the table and you're like, no,
Okay,
I don't
no.
want this, it's gonna not be enjoyable, right? So nothing's
Yeah,
really gonna happen if they're putting up like a wall here. You need to
yeah.
be open to receive, and then that's when the magic happens.
Yeah, yeah. And well, as I said before, we do have many things in common. And another thing in common is the bracelets that you do. We do different ones though.
Yeah.
They
Yes,
are
we do.
still bracelets, but different ones. Can you just explain the concept? Because I found them so beautiful, but at the same time so healing. They are totally different from mine, but they are
Yeah.
so special at the same time. Like,
Thank you. It's so crazy to me because this actually happened. I did a bracelet when I did my level 2 Reiki. So
mhm.
we were doing a bracelet and I was like, oh, this is like so great to do. And like, I don't know why I haven't thought about making a bracelet before. I was like, I can do this. And in my head, I was like, I don't know why this has never crossed my mind. But I like really cherished like this bracelet. And I was like, oh, this, like, I did this like during my Reiki course. And it was like, had a lot of meaning to me. And I was like, oh, I can totally do bracelets. And, it kind of just happened that I enjoyed to make them. Like, I just really found joy in making different ones and like being creative and like finding like new beads that I could make different designs. And so it allowed me to be really creative and then make lots of bracelets. But and then I just had so many bracelets. And I was like, well, what should I do with these? And I was like, oh, I should like sell them so that people can also have them. And like it's so nice when people buy them and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I love them," and I'm like, "You do?" It's just,
There
I'm
is
like shocked.
always that self-doubt, like I am doing the right thing, and then you receive the feedback, you're like, oh, I'm actually doing well.
It just makes it like really warms my heart and it makes me really happy that someone has something that I created. Like now they have it, right? And it's part of them. Like it's theirs and it's tangible and it's nice and that they like it. And I'm like, really? And it's just so crazy because like I know you see people doing things and like you never think like, oh, I could be doing that. And then
Yeah.
I don't even know. Literally I enjoy making the bracelets. I had too many of them and I was like, where can I put them all? It's not fair for them to just to be sitting like in my room, like. So I was like, oh, I should just share them with people. So that's what I do. And it's really nice because when I package them up for people, like I write a little note and I
Oh,
cleanse them with sage.
yeah.
And then I gave them Reiki energy. So I put like
Yeah,
nice
wow.
music and I channel it and I give them like lots of love and lots of Reiki. Um, and then in the hopes that when people wear them, they can feel that love that
Yeah.
I've given
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
But are you much more sage or Palo Santo? This is just out of curiosity.
Oh, well,
Are
I
you a
have both.
sage one? You're a sage
Yeah,
girl
I
or
use
Palo
more
Santo
sage.
girl?
My my partner thinks the Palo Santo smells like burning plastics.
Seriously?
Yeah. So
Wow.
I do use the sage more.
Yeah. Well, I'm much more Palo Santo one. Like I do,
Yeah.
I do like the smell of plastic.
So do I. I mean, so do
It's
I.
no.
Yeah. but it just so happens that I reach for that one more often.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mostly cleanse with sage, but that's all good.
Yeah.
It's the same. I mean, it's just the same
Oh yeah,
thing.
yeah, 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 yeah. No,
Yeah.
but and like I don't like, for instance, I don't like the smell of sage. Like I do understand how they can be powerful when you smudge them everywhere, but I
Yeah.
just hate the smell of it. So, but I think that is so personal in the end of the day, isn't it?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
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 And me too. The first time I was like, this smells weird. Like, do I like this? I don't know. And people are like commenting if I'm doing it in my room, like, what's that smell? You like it? Like,
And
sorry.
and can I do a spoiler about something that you're gonna publish? Or
Yes.
should? Yay, good. So, um, well, you can like I already doing the spoiler. So Melissa's gonna publish this beautiful poetry book.
Yeah.
Please tell us about.
Well, how exciting is this for me? So when I was a little girl, I used to like write. I've always written, right? And I used to write these like songs, like because I
Yeah,
used to listen to music, right?
teenage
So
time. Yeah.
yeah, you would write like songs about how you feel. I used to write a lot when I was younger. And one of like my goals when I was just a little girl was to write a book. And then I would always like start trying to write like fiction, like a
Well,
fiction book or something like that. And I was like, oh, I don't know, like this is hard. Um, so I started writing a lot. I always write like in my journal and stuff, but I would write like little things about how I felt often. And it really happened that I started writing a lot right before leaving for Thailand. I had met someone and I was like, this is the one. Like this, I love him. I was like, he's gonna be mine. And then I ended up going to Thailand and that didn't happen. And then I met
oh,
someone over there and he was horrible. So I wrote all about this too. And then I met my partner when I came back and I was like, this is the real one. So my book is called Love, What Else? Because really love, what else would I write about if I didn't write about love? Like it has so much like power, right? Just love. And about like relationships, because I always feel like that has so much like a big part of like people's lives, right? They're always like
yeah,
searching for like a love or relationship or some like partnership, right?
yeah, yeah.
So my book has 3 sections. The first one is called My First Love, because that was the one that I was like, this is it, right? And then the middle part is called My Fake Love, because it was so horrible, but I thought it was good. And then the last one is called My Real Love, because that is my true real love. And I'm really excited about it, but it makes me like really scared at the same time. And yeah, I finally had the time to start like writing it so I can get it published. My partner really supports me and gives me all the support that I need in order for it to become reality. And I worked really hard. It's been a challenge because it's confusing to self-publish a book,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah, I agree
I'm
with you.
like I'm like, what's happening? And did I do it wrong? And all these like different things are coming up, and I'm like, ah. And it's something that I need to be better on is like detach myself from like having it because I'm like so close and then I'm getting all these like bumps along the way, and I'm like, no, I
Yeah,
just want it so bad, and I'm getting like upset, and then just being like, whenever the time is right, like it'll come about, right? So it's really just letting go and
yeah.
giving
Well,
that
yeah, I
space.
agree with you. Like my first one, I just did from one day to the other one. I was like, no, fuck it. It needs to go in the world. And then it was self-publishing both of them. And but when I self-published the first one, is still the first one, I can't read it anymore. It's really difficult for me to open up. It's like I gave to the world that it was like, take it. I don't want that anymore. And then the second one that is much more a journey, like I went all through the self-publishing thing, and then it's like because in the end of the day, I do think that you need to have someone that will publish for you is quite tough, is a tough journey in that. And you just want to share your experience with the world. You just want to share your story with the world. And you're just like, okay, I can't keep sending emails to literary agents and they are saying, no, no, no. Now I'm like, you know what, let me do it by myself. And the second one, when I've done it, I was like, okay, so I'm pleased of doing this. And it actually went better than the first one, because then I had a book launch, and and then you just get more into that thing of, well, now people know everything about my story.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't hide anymore.
It's
And
so
that is the
beautiful.
crazy, yeah, that is the most crazy and also fearful part, because I do remember on the book launch there was my mother in there, and on the second book I was quite tough with the story with her. She couldn't understand anything, thanks God, but then someone translated to her, and she went really upset about it. And then she was like, I was like, Mom, in the end of the day, what any people that we take that book from all over the world, whatever they are, they will never know that this is you, or this is me, or this is my brother, this is my father. Well, now that you are listening, yes, you know that is that. But
Yeah.
no, but it's just like, oh wow, it's out in the world, and now everyone's gonna know it. And it's just beautiful in that way.
Yeah.
So well done. I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy. I can't wait to have a copy, to grab the copy, not have it, to grab the
Yeah.
copy.
I know. I was literally telling my chiropractor that I've written a book, and he's like, I can't wait to read it. And already I was like, oh, like, I was
Stressful
like,
moments.
yeah, it is definitely scary. Like, even just posting on Instagram here and there, it's like, okay. But there's always like a part of me, because like my partner's right beside me, and it's always like kind of like love related, or if I'm feeling like sad.
Yeah.
But even though I've written it before, I'm like, I hope he doesn't think that like
Yeah.
this is how I'm feeling right now, right? Or that I'm like thinking like this. It's definitely like, yeah, it's like a new feeling, and
Yeah.
it's like beautiful and scary at the same time, right? Because it's like,
Yeah.
what will people think? Or like if they think I'm depressed or whatever,
Yeah. You just don't
is this
question
about me,
yourself. Don't question yourself. Just give to the world.
Yeah. Well, so much, poetry books have helped me personally a lot, just like reading things, or like even if I'm sad and I read things and it helps me like cry and just
Yeah.
like relate, to that you're not alone going through these types of things. It's like, it's kind of like a nice, like a warm hug from someone else to be like, we're going through like hardship too, and for people that you don't know, like around the world, it's nice. And
Yeah.
that's why
Yeah.
it's like important for me to share too, because I'm like, it's like it's like people are like holding you up when they're sharing like things, that's what it's
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. Yeah. It
So
is.
I'm excited. I've started writing already my second book. It's
And this
completely
is what
different.
happened. Yeah.
If it will happen, I don't know. It's already written down, so even if
Yeah.
it's not published, it's fine. And I also feel really called to write more about like my story from my past,
Yeah.
not really poetry, but more just like all these like different things that have happened to me, because I think it's gonna be a great way for me to heal from past things, because
Yeah.
oftentimes I don't really think about them. Like I don't think about my past a
Yeah.
lot,
Yeah. Yeah.
but sometimes it's good to write it out and everything that's happened for you to like heal from it.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
Completely
So
agree.
we'll
So, my
see.
dear, we are coming by the end of the episode, and I want you to share with all the listeners how they can where they can find you.
Great. Okay. So you can find me on my Instagram. It's just my name. I have two accounts. So I have Melissa_Proulx, which is, how do you spell that? I know. Proulx. And I am holding space. That is my business account. Of course, my website is www.imholdingspace.com. Very easy, connected that way. Um, yeah, and I do have, I'm trying to do the TikTok thing, and
Ooh.
Twitter. I, it's like a new experience for me, so just bear with me. Going through changes, but I'm more familiar with Instagram. I'm
Yeah.
also working on Inside Timer because of you, Jude, giving me some great guidance. So be on the lookout for that. I'm just working on doing some guided meditations and different types of little workshops on there. So it is a process. I'm learning. So I will be on there, but you could definitely find me on my Instagram would be best.
Well, I will put all the details on the podcast episode. And I do have the last question. What is the message that you wanted to give to all our listeners today?
The message I want to give to everyone is just be yourself. That is the best thing that I could say. Authentically yourself, unapologetic, and don't be afraid to shine bright, and try to get rid of your ego, because just don't care about what other people want to see. Just really just show them who you are, because that's the most beautiful thing. And even if you're not getting recognized, or you're not getting the love that you're hoping for, you're getting the love from the people that truly love you, and that's what's most important.
That's nice. Melissa, thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you so much to share this episode. Truly inspiring. And well, you're actually my sister from the other side of the world. So yay.
So true.
Thank you so, so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It is an honor to be here with you, sharing this space and this message, and just being asked to be in this podcast is really such an honor, and I'm really, really grateful. And thank you so much.
Thank you. And for all the listeners, please go to check my website, healingwithjude.com, for updates and for also new webinars that I'm going to do. I haven't set the dates yet, but just go in there, subscribe, healingwithjude.com. And you can also check our beautiful faces in my YouTube channel, healingwithjude.com. So this episode will be in there with both of us. And please, if you like what you listen today, please follow the podcast, review the podcast, and share this episode, because more we share and more this episode can arrive all over the world.